Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. Just thought we'd do a little video regarding the news last night that Everton's Premier League game this Sunday at Goodison Park against Leicester City has been postponed after what the Athletic have called a significant COVID outbreak in the Leicester City camp. Everton released the following statement yesterday. Following medical guidance, the Premier League board has postponed Sunday's match with Leicester City at Goodison Park due to an increase in positive COVID-19 cases within the Leicester squad. Now, firstly, before we go into talking about this, I just want to say we wish everybody at Leicester who has been affected by COVID a very, very speedy recovery. I read something in the news yesterday that it's something like up to 15 people affected by this. As I said, the Athletic labelled it a significant COVID outbreak. Their game last night was obviously called off because of this, and I had a sort of assumption that this one on Sunday would be called off as well. So I just want to wish everybody at Leicester a very speedy recovery, and everybody at any other club around the world and in the Premier League, of course, that have been affected by COVID-19. It's a horrible virus, and I wish everybody affected a very, very speedy recovery. But a game of football has been postponed, and rightly so, by the way, rightly so. You know, look, everybody will have differences in opinions on this situation, and I know football managers have been asked about it, and players have been asked about it, and it all seems very much like we'll just follow the guidance and we'll see where we go. I know Thomas Frank, Brentford manager, come out and said that he doesn't understand why fixtures aren't just being postponed, as in every fixture being postponed until, you know, we can get this under control a little bit more. I actually agree with that, to be honest with you. Look, you've got Manchester United who have had a couple of games postponed, Tottenham who haven't played for about a month with this. We saw, you know, obviously Leicester have had a lot of games postponed now because of COVID cases. I think Burnley have had a few as well. You've had Chelsea had, 4 confirmed cases on Wednesday, which nearly put last night's game into a bit of confusion as to whether or not that'll take place. So it's not a one-off, team now. There's 20 teams in the Premier League. It's not like one team is being affected and everybody else is fine. It's not like there's a couple of players that, are testing positive and everybody else is okay. You've pretty much got, a lot of sides that are being affected by COVID outbreaks within their squad, and you're talking, multiple players, multiple members of staff, people that are essential for games of football to be taking place. And now you're seeing multiple games being postponed. I think there's been 4 postponed at the weekend already. A couple were postponed over the last couple of days as well. Obviously ours was postponed on Sunday, as we said, against Leicester. So for me, it would be the sensible decision for the Premier League to just say, do you know what? Let's knock it on the head, leave it till maybe the new year, and then assess it from there when everybody's had a little bit of a break. And they could even spin it as a practice for next year, because we know obviously there'll be a winter break next season because of the World Cup. They could even say that we're going to implement a winter break to give everybody a break, and we'll see how it goes ahead of next year, which it'll be in place anyway. But the Premier League won't do that, because there's money to be made, and when teams can play and whilst players can play, they'll play them, even given the fact that we're in such a up in the air situation at the moment, with Premier League teams and games being cancelled and postponed left, right and centre, and players and staff being affected by this left, right and centre as well. But yeah, as I said, Everton's game on Sunday against Leicester City has been postponed. We now don't play until Boxing Day against Burnley away from home. There was talk yesterday that the game against Chelsea could potentially be postponed after they picked up a couple of positive tests on Wednesday, but from what I read, that game would have only been in jeopardy if Chelsea would have picked up more further positive tests on Thursday, meaning yesterday, which was obviously the day of the game. That doesn't really make sense to me, because if you've got 4 players that have tested positive on Wednesday and they've all been mixing with the rest of the squad, yes, all of the squad will have had to have tested negative on Thursday. I get that, but it might take 2 or 3 days for symptoms to pass through and to come through and to appear on a test. So there's still nothing to say that those players that have tested positive that have mixed with the other squad haven't passed. Other members of the squad haven't passed that on. So again, the sensible decision for me would have been to have postponed yesterday's game as well. But when there's money to be made, do the Premier League really give a shit about anything other than the coin? I would argue that they don't, to be honest with you. But the game was played, and Everton ended up getting a really good result out of it, considering the circumstances, considering the injuries that we had, and the players that we had out injured. But for me, again, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that the game on Sunday is being postponed. Obviously, it's completely the right decision given the circumstances and given the situation with Leicester and the COVID outbreak. It would have been ridiculous for this game to have gone ahead. Hence why they've cancelled it with with a couple of days' notice, and they haven't just done it on the day, which is what they've done before. But also, I suppose it's a positive for Everton as well. Gives the players time to rest, to recuperate. Hopefully, we don't get an outbreak in the squad either. But when you look at Everton's squad and you think of some of the injuries that we've got, you think of some of the players that we've got out. Obviously, a lot of the young lads played last night, and they played absolutely brilliant. They played out their skin. They were amazing. But for them to replicate that performance against Leicester on Sunday would have been massively, massively difficult. And I suppose the hope is that when we come to play Burnley on Boxing Day, Dominic Calvert-Lewin hopefully will be back fit and available. Again, I'm not holding my breath, but there's a hope there. Seamus Coleman, hopefully he'll be back and ready. Alan, obviously, will hopefully be back as well. He was on the bench last night. We know Richarlison and Townsend won't be there. Damari Gray missed yesterday through illness as well, so hopefully he'll be able to return as well. So it's a much needed and welcomed break for Everton. As I said, it's not good circumstances, of course. I would rather every Leicester player be fit and healthy and the game go ahead than this situation, but it's not the worst thing in the world for Everton to not have a game of football. I suppose a week before a Christmas, and we now get a 10-day break, or what was a 10-day break from yesterday before Burnley. Enough time to recover, recuperate, and hopefully keep that momentum. It was a really good performance and a really good result last night against Chelsea, and hopefully the players can keep that confidence and take that in to what will be a tough game away to Burnley on Boxing Day. But who knows, football might well have been postponed by then. There might well be a different conversation to be had, because as I said, I think the Premier League needs to start seriously sitting down and looking at what's going on. It's not a case anymore of playing it by the by and seeing what happens and seeing which teams get outbreaks and which teams don't. Most Premier League teams now are starting to see this, the virus affecting their squads and having to postpone games and stuff like that. We know Tottenham have still got a European game to be played, which was postponed about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's about time the Premier League really sit down and start to put some serious plans in place and think about the health and well-being of the players at football clubs, the staff of football clubs as well, because this is getting a little bit out of hand now. And for me, as I said, I agree with Thomas Frank. I'd have just cancelled it all until New Year's Day and said, listen, we'll address it then. And I know that will lose the Premier League an awful lot of money over Christmas, and I get that, but at the end of the day, health and well-being is number one. Football is the least important things. Football is the most important things out of all of the least important things in life, and it's not as important as health and fitness and well-being. Anyway, that is the latest. Everton's game against Leicester on Sunday has been postponed due to an outbreak in the Leicester camp. As I said before, wishing everybody at Leicester the very best and a very speedy recovery in recovering from the virus. Everton now won't play until Boxing Day against Burnley, which is a welcomed rest for the squad. Hopefully it'll give us time to get some players back to fitness, hopefully some players back from injury as well. It's a nice little 10-day break over Christmas, I suppose, for players to recover and recuperate as well. But yeah, it's a really, really worrying situation at the moment in the Premier League, and I do think it needs to be seriously addressed as well, because I think it's becoming negligent to almost ignore the fact that there's a massive issue here, and just almost say, well, if a team has an outbreak, we'll cancel that game on the day, or we'll cancel this on the day. Look at the wider picture now. Is it worth playing Premier League games of football? Look at even fixture congestion wise. You're going to have teams that have played 2 less games than everybody else, 3 less games. So you'll have weeks towards the end of the season when a certain team is having to play 3 times in 1 week, and you might play a really important game on a Sunday, and they've had to play on the Wednesday and the Saturday before and the Thursday before that, whereas the team they're playing hasn't played for a week because they've already played all of their games. So I think for fairness and for, as I said, for fixture congestion and stuff like that, and obviously health and well-being, which is number one, the best decision for me would just be knock it on the head and then you know, give it a couple of weeks and see where we go from there. But I highly doubt the Premier League will do that. But as I said, what we know so far is Everton's game against Leicester on Sunday has been postponed due to a COVID outbreak in the Leicester camp. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. And don't forget to check out our other video talking about the latest regarding Luca Dean's situation at the football club. Big thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.